We'll then finish by briefly touching on a certain very controversial ROM hack. But another ROM hack you might like if you're into modernization games is one called Pokémon Red++. If I had to describe this one in a sentence, I would say it's Pokémon Red, but it looks like Pokémon Crystal. Because as you can see, the game is running on Pokémon Crystal's engine. Kind of. This ROM hack does do a lot more than just take Gen 2's graphics. It adds a physical special splits, adds Dark Steel and Fairy types, adds over 40 new Pokémon from Gens 2, 3, and 4, adds Faraway Island, South Isle, other locations, plus fixes most of the weird Gen 1 bugs, generally modifying things with the Gen 2 code. Of course, what I really like about this ROM hack is the visual aspect. I love Kanto. Sometimes Fire Red just feels too modern for Kanto. Adding the Gen 2 graphics is a nice touch of modernization without going too far. If you like Gen 1 and 2, you'll like this ROM hack, but given that this is a modernization hack, it's totally understandable if the later gen features aren't for you. Anyway, I really like this because it's just a unique take on Gen 1, and it's a pretty damn well done ROM hack. But if you're looking for something truly faithful to Generation 1, you should look no further than Pokemon Shin Red. Shin Red is more than anything a faithful ROM hack that mainly seeks to fix the many glitches and bugs of Gen 1. On top of added quality of life, all 151 Pokemon are available, you can play as a boy or a girl, there's an experience bar, and you can rematch trainers. This ROM hack goes even further than the Legacy series and puts preservation above all else. So you'll love it if you're simply looking to play Red and Blue, but want a smoother experience. It's also worth noting that Yellow Legacy actually uses the trainer AI code for our game. And if you are really interested in Yellow Legacy, there is another ROM hack that I would recommend, and that is Pokemon Pure RGB, which in general I would say is a ROM hack that follows the same philosophy of Yellow Legacy. It too sought to fix the many issues of Red and Blue, but unlike Shin Red, it's okay with taking some creative liberties in the name of an improved experience. And just like Yellow Legacy, the line where this is drawn is not by bringing in any new mechanics, moves, sprites, or Pokemon that were introduced in later generations. So basically, where Shin Red gives you the exact experience of the older games, Pure RGB is okay with taking some liberties to make an overall more enjoyable experience. Where I would say Yellow Legacy differs is really just how we define that. With Yellow Legacy, our goal is to make Yellow feel like the definitive Gen 1 title, like how Crystal and Emerald are for their generations. But overall, I would say that you'll like this ROM hack quite a bit if you're excited for Yellow Legacy but want something that plays tighter to Red and Blue. And speaking of Yellow Legacy, our next ROM hack is Ash Gray, which is very much what a lot of you were hoping to get out of my ROM hack. Ash Gray is a Gen 3 Fire Red hack that seeks to follow the anime as closely as possible. In this ROM hack, you literally play as Ash Ketchum and follow the 116 events that take course over the first season of the anime. And I'm really happy that this ROM exists and I can recommend it because this is what so many people thought we were going to do for our ROM hack. And it's just weird because Pokemon Yellow is not trying to really be the anime. Like Pokemon Yellow is 90% just Pokemon Red and Blue, and then they're like, but you get Pikachu. Sure, Jesse and James, slightly different teams, but it's truly just Red and Blue. But if you're looking for a ROM hack that isn't trying to follow the lead set by the game and go completely somewhere else, Ash Gray is what you're looking for. But of course, this list would not be complete if we didn't talk about the Kaizo games. And specifically, I'd like to recommend Crystal Kaizo for anyone that found Crystal Legacy to be lacking of challenge. To the 8 of you that complained Legacy was too hard, good luck with this. So the story of Pokemon Crystal Kaizo is identical to Pokemon Crystal, but it's these changes to the maps, move pools, and rosters of every trainer. And this ROM hack was made with a very simple, singular goal, is to be the hardest possible Gen 2 game. All major bosses have full teams of 6 Pokemon with crazy movesets. Like for example, as compared to our Falkner, who has a Pidgeotto and a Noctowl, Crystal Kaizo's Falkner runs Pidgeotto, Mantine, Gligar, Togetic, Murkrow, and Noctowl. This is called a difficulty ROM hack. It doesn't care about enhancing or storyline. It just wants to make you suffer. Take Lance's fight, for example, which features Pokemon like Dragonite, Kingdra, and Tyranitar. But rather than them being in the mid-50s, his team caps out at level 120, where your Pokemon cannot go past level 100. It is a grueling and infuriatingly difficult ROM, and it's perfect if you're looking to push your skills to the limit, which can also be said for Blue Kaizo, which is the equivalent hack for Gen 1. To give you one example for this hack, Brock's Badge 1 team has a level 15 Aerodactyl that knows Dragon Rage. That is all you need to know. Don't play it. I know this is a recommendation video. You're probably gonna have a bad time. Now, another really interesting Gen 1 ROM hack you may enjoy is Pokémon Unova Red, which is a reimagining of Gen 1, whose only main change is swapping out Kanto's roster for the Pokédex from Black and White's Unova. Simplified, it's Generation 1, but with the Gen 5 Pokémon. And I think this is a really neat concept, because the Unova Pokédex was designed to stand alone without any Pokémon from other regions. In a sense, it was a bit of a soft reset on the series, and so the 151 from Unova fit into Gen 1 perfectly. It's just really smart. And this ROM hack is going to be most enjoyed by people who have played both generations. Also, just getting to see demade Gen 5 sprites is really cool. And similarly, there's also a sequel to this game called Pokémon Kalos Crystal. This game takes the base engine of Generation 2, continues the use of the Unova decks as the original 151, but then it adds the roster from X and Y to fill out the Gen 2 decks. Now, as I'm such a fan of Gen 2, this is personally my preferred version of the two games. This game actually runs off the Gen 6 battle mechanics, so you've got things like physical special split and fairy type, but unlike other maybe enhancement hacks, I don't really find this to be as much of a problem. That's because my brain more so associates the Pokemon with the mechanics. So I see Gen 6 and I think, yeah, Gen 6 mechanics. So if you're someone who doesn't really like the modernization hacks, but wants something that is Gen 2 and doesn't feel too out there, I actually think this is a really solid ROM. Now, there's a new ROM hack that just came out, which goes by the name of the Kanto Expansion Pack. This is a ROM hack of Pokemon Red and Blue, which most notably adds all Gen 1 related Pokemon and their variants into the game. Later generational evolutions like Magmortar, Caesar, and Annihilate are added, but it goes much further than that. With the game also seeing the additions of regional forms like Alolan Marowak, and we even get Paradox forms from Gen 9. And honestly, this is just scratching the surface of what this ROM hack does. On top of all this stuff, I would just overall describe it as a very creative project. And it's great if you're looking for a Gen 1 ROM hack that just adds a ton of new content. My personal favorite thing about this ROM hack, though, are the sprites. Again, something about demade, it just tickles my brain in the right way. The creator of this ROM hack also helped us out with some feedback on our Yellow Legacy changes, so this is one I especially wanted to shout out and encourage you guys to play and show them some love. But if you enjoyed Pokemon Crystal Legacy, I think I might have another ROM hack you'd have fun with. Pokemon Sour Crystal is spiritually identical to Crystal Legacy. Like seriously, if you want an idea of how close these games are, take this. The stated goal of Sour Crystal is, quote, to try and improve upon most of Crystal's known flaws while retaining the overall Gen 2 feeling as best it can. I don't think I could have said it better myself. I believe this ROM hack has been in beta for quite some time, but I really wanted to recommend this one just because it's so similar to Crystal Legacy. Personally, I would say the biggest pro over Legacy is that they already have a fully fleshed out Kanto. Potential drawbacks based on your personal preferences, they have been a bit more liberal with adding modern features like removing HMs for the Gen 7 system, but even if you don't like it being modernized, it definitely makes the game feel larger with new content. And this is something I've really not touched at all, so I would be super curious to hear what you guys have to say about it.